Hello. I think I'm holding the phone the right way. If not, this is going to be ridiculous. Just trying to take my coat off. Luckily, no one's watching yet. So, for anyone that is watching, no one's watching yet. Oh, that makes me feel special. I haven't announced this live. I just thought I wanted to experiment with live after I did one the other day. I thought it might be useful for people. So, what I'm going to do is at some point in the near future, I'm going to dedicate a time slot a day, an hour, something like that I can do some live videos. You guys can pop on, ask me some questions. And what I want to try and do is have it so that I've got a car with me and I can show people things, easy things. I'm not going to show people how to change a clutch on a Q&A. But if someone says, where's this? Or how do I access this? Or, you know, things like that. Hopefully having a car with me might be useful for that. But today I'm with this V6 3.2. If I press this and I can see, so if anyone's got any questions about the 3.2 while I'm here, I'll do my best. But yeah, what I want on this video for now is just ideas of what people want to talk about, what people might want to ask me, so that I can kind of be prepared when I do start doing that. But yeah, I mean, we could talk through anything to do with the interior, anything to do with the engine bay, anything to do with underside, you know. I can't do it at the unit because I don't have good signal at the unit. I can't do it at home because, well, yeah, the Wi-Fi seems to hit our front wall and then stop. So I can't do that, but we're going to be moving house soon. What's the easy way of contacting you for work on TTs? I'm going through a bit of issues at the minute with Facebook Messenger, which is what I've been relying on, and I am going to be making over the switch to email. So if you have a look in the comments of all my videos, and I'll try and add it to this one, the email address is bwstt225@gmail.com. Because email isn't the primary way that I deal with things at the moment, it still is last on the list of things for me to check when I get home. So apologies for that, but that is the best way moving forwards. So just bwstt225@gmail.com. And I will respond to you as and when I can. I'm always out on the road. I'm always doing jobs. So admin is something that I do as and when I get time. I do want to set specific timescale to do that. Oh, look at my hair. Ooh. I do want to set a specific timescale to try and do that for people, but it's not always possible. Any questions while I'm live at the moment by anyone? I suppose if no one asks questions now, then it proves that this would be kind of a pointless venture in setting up doing live videos. Although I didn't advertise that I was doing this, so I'm not surprised that there's not that many people watching at whatever time it is on a Saturday afternoon. We were going to be doing, well, we've done a little bit of suspension stuff, so I've just done the top mounts. But yeah, this is the 3.2. These genuine brakes, if anyone's interested in the difference between the genuine discs and the copy discs. So on a genuine disc like this, got two-piece design. Can you see in there? See this part here is aluminium, the bell, and then it connects to the steel outer there. So it's just for a bit of weight saving because they are such a big disc. It's just to try and help with the weight. And yeah, I mean, these are 334mm discs. They're massively thick, huge twin piston calipers. Incidentally with less braking force than the standard 225 caliper, but that's something we can discuss. Oh, we've got some more things popping up here. My T25 smokes blue on idle, but it's clear when driving and don't smoke from cold. So is that hot idle? It's blue and smoky, but it doesn't do it when driving, doesn't do it when it's cold. What weight oil are you using, Nosha? How to remove the bar, roof trims and painted. I can show you that. So who asked that? How do I get there we go. I can see messages now. Right. So Y-Treg. So if you remove this plastic bit here, there's just a fixing under there. I don't know if you can see it. There's a fixing here. You remove that and then this part here just pulls out this way and off. That's dead easy one. But yeah, you can see that because they're a different material, even on this one, you see that it just faded ever so slightly differently to the body because they're aluminium. So they do corrode slightly. at the front here sometimes, which is why you'd need to remove them. What's your thoughts on the Polo GTI 9N3 brakes? If they are a caliper and carrier separate from each other, then you should be right. They're a straight swap. If but I'm not sure on the. I don't do much with the Polos, to be honest with you. So if they're a 5-stud 5x100 fitment, and the hub is the right distance from the back of the bolt-in mounting base, yeah, I can't give you a definitive answer on that. But if you've got a separate carrier design, then it's easy to check. There we go. Right, tried both. So Nosho, we tried both 540 and 530. Okay, so what I would suggest. So let's just go back to your comment. So it's blue on idle. It's clear when driving, and it doesn't smoke from cold. I mean, what I would realistically, you've got 3 things that you need to be checking. 2 of which, until you tear the engine down, you can't really differentiate between the 2. So you're looking at rings, valve stem seals, or the turbo. The turbo is the easiest one to check, and just to put your mind at ease on that one. But the thing is, you're saying that it doesn't smoke while driving, but if it's only smoking a little bit on idle, it might just be building up and you're noticing it. So if there's a little bit seeping past wherever it's seeping past, under normal driving, that might be going faster, and so you're clearing it out quicker, so you don't notice it in the same way. But the first thing I would do, just because it's free to check, is whip the turbo intake pipe off. Have a feel for any in and out play. Side to side's fine, but in and out is not good. And then, yeah, I mean, depending on the mileage of the engine, the valve guides on the exhaust side are quite weak in these. In that, yeah, any engine you take for refurb after 20,000 miles ahead, the exhaust ones are always out of tolerance. So yeah, they can start going past the valve stem seals. What else we've got going? And it's right. Wow. Okay. So roof trims, we've covered that off. Sorry. When I do this properly, I'll have my laptop set up, so I'm not putting my finger in front of the screen trying to scroll through messages. Any tips on how to remove rear axles on a 180 Quattro? What are you struggling with? 6 hours, Martin? Okay. Adam, I got a rat in my engine bay now. I have a warning light. Scanned it and it says camshaft sensor. Could you give me any advice on what I'm looking for and how to repair? So on the 225, I'm assuming, or even on the 180, the camshaft sensor is this end here. Obviously, this is completely different because this is V6, but it's this end here. But it depends on the exact code, because it's cam correlation, or if it's if it's saying it's not happy with the values at all, then yeah, it might be the wire in there. But if you've had a rat in there chewing stuff, you do need to be checking the entire wiring loom, really. Checking pin out from each sensor back to the ECU. That's not a fun process. There is no shortcut on that. But the wiring for that goes from that cam position sensor at the end of the head, comes past the injector wire loom, and then that is all as one loom then, as soon as it meets the injectors. So you've only got a very small area there if it's specific damage to that wiring to check for. Anyway, yeah, so Martin, these rear axles on a 180 Quattro are the same as any Quattro. What have you undone? I'm having trouble putting the back seats forward. Yeah, the brackets on them rear seats are very very flimsy. If they've not been greased over the years, then yeah, when you try and force them down, they end up just bending. Realistically, if you can't see anything visually wrong with them, and you've greased all the pivot points, then you probably just need to get new brackets for it, realistically. All 6 bolts taken out, hub nut removed, it won't budge, it's the rear. We say all 6 bolts taken out. Yeah, so you've not undone the tie bars by the sounds of it. So you need to drop the main suspension bolt through the strut into the rear trailing arm. That needs to come off. And then the 2 ends of the tie bars where they're attached to the hub, you need to undo those. And then the hub has got enough room to move off the axle. The end where it connects to the diff, even once you've got those 6 ones out, you're going to just need to keep rotating it and tapping it with a big hammer. I use a 4-pound lump hammer. It does it every time. You just got to be persistent with that. So I hope that helps. This is cool. I'm liking this. If you're liking this, stick a thumbs up. You know, just let me know that this has been useful, and we'll do it again. With 1.8 20 valve turbo engines, replacing the rocker cover gasket easy enough to do on the drive. Mine's seeping over slightly. Yes, this is a video that I'm going to be doing. So one rookie, a rocker gasket video is in the pipeline. I've actually got a really nice TT lined up that I'm going to be working on pretty soon, which is really low mileage. So I wanted to do it on that so that it's just going to be a really nice car to work on. So I wanted to film that for something, and it needs the rocker gasket doing, so I'm going to do it for that one. Hi from Staffordshire, glider pilot. Staffordshire, who do I know in Staffordshire? I know a few people in Staffordshire. Definitely going to keep doing these live. Yeah, I will let people know in advance next time, because this is just ad hoc. This is just, yeah, on the fly. Is there 2-step for 2005 Audi TT? Okay. Caesar Titus. Caesar Tits? Caesar Titus? Caesar Tits. There. Okay. You could get 2-step sorted. Have you got rods, exhaust valves, and everything like that sorted? If you haven't, don't, because you'll just kill your engine. Can you put a 225 exhaust on a 180? Yeah, you can. So there's a difference in diameter between the pipe as it joins from the cats. So you just have to get a reducer made for that. Now, off the top of my head, I can't tell you the figures, but I think it's something like, instead of being 2.25 inches, it's 2 inches, or 2.5 inches, it's 2.25 inches, something like that. Back end, everything fits the same. You've got the same mounting points, as long as it's quattro. You just need to get the twin valance sorted, and then, yeah, they can pretty much swap straight over. Caesar Titus says it's risky. Yes, it is risky. Don't do it. It's not worth it. What's the best oil for the TTs now they're getting on a bit? So I go with 540, change it a bit more regular, especially for anything remapped. 540 is just going to keep the oil pressure at the top end of the revs when it's getting hotter. So yeah, that's what I go with, 540. 530 is still within spec, that's fine, you know, use it. But yeah, as they're getting on a bit, I tend to use 540. What could cause... Got a few people with smoking issues. Smoke comes up with the exhaust after a few minutes on idle. Can't see smoke from below. Smoke's not good with high pressure. Again, watch the video back. Jane, not sure. I've just been talking about smoking. There's a few things you need to check really. Bring need a power steering rack fitting. Check your emails, please. James, yeah, will do. I'll have a look at that. Yeah, glider pilot saying he's done the 225 onto the 180. Best way to do a vacuum test. It's an interesting one. Vacuum is a tricky one. I was thinking about this the other day as I was driving along, because I want to get a smoke tester, because I don't have one. I usually just pressurise the system, have a listen, and look at the obvious places, which is not the best thing to do, but it's what I do. So a vacuum test, what I was actually going to do myself is rig something up so that, again, if I had the car in front of me, I'd show you. But you can get vacuum pressure pumps, handheld. And if you've got somewhere to do it indoors, I think this could work. It could be quite cool. So you know where on the 180 and on the 225, where you've got the nipple on the throttle body, you could take that off. Again, you're not necessarily testing the whole system doing it this way, which is a bit of a pain. But you could induce vacuum at that point with a handheld pump. You might be able to hear things happening. You might be able to see the vacuum dropping off. But then if you get, you can get smoke pellets from any like hardware place that gas fitters use that they put around joints so they can see if there's any air moving. So if you've got somewhere still inside that you can do that, you could set one of these off close by where you think you might have leaks, induce vacuum with that pump, and then you'd be able to see. So that, yeah, once I come up with a proper method for that, I might share that with you guys. Can I adjust the actuator on the turbo for more boost safely? Not really. Oh, it's John. Sorry, it's really difficult to see. John. Yes, hi, John. Can you adjust the actuator on the turbo for more boost safely? Not really. Not unless you've got something to adjust the fuel on as well. So it's not like on the old turbo diesels where you can just wind up the actuator and then wind up the fuel pump. can't really safely do that on these. So no, just get it mapped. Just want to say this live question time is a great idea, and thanks for your videos in general. Have a good weekend. Oh, cheers, mate. Yeah, I'm glad that I can be useful and helpful. That's that's the only reason that I really do these videos, is try and help people out. It's the only reason I work on TTs in the first place, is to help people out. So yeah, worth upgrading the fuel pressure regulator. No, we're not going to entertain the idea of just changing the fuel pressure regulator and tweaking the actuator. That's not the way to go about tuning. But if you're getting it tuned, just stay with the standard fuel pressure regulator, because it's more than fine on standard injectors. Cool. I think we've covered off all the current questions. It's getting confusing. But yeah, I think, to be honest with you, I think I'm going to wrap it up there, because I need to get this car finished off. I need to get the wheels back on and sorted, and then I can hit the road, because I'm over near Great Yarmouth-ish, well, Norfolk, wherever I am. Nearly 3 hours from home, 2.5 hours from home. Gazman, yeah, the email's in the description of all my videos. So if you contact me on that, I'm getting around to using email more than Messenger and other things that people use. I put a 225 fuel pump in my 180. Should I change the fuel regulator? No, it's fine. Oh, hi, Rich. How you doing? Cool. So I'm wondering, has this been shared into the TT Facebook page? And is that why we're starting to get more people watching? 24 people. Do you know what? I'll take 24. 24 is good, considering didn't advertise what I was doing. Best guy with a camera show. Nice close. Keep it up. Nice close up. Keep it up. Cheers. Like I say, do you know what? You guys comment on the videos and let me know that they're useful. It's really nice for me when I see those notifications ping up, and it just makes me realise that it was worth doing for you in the first place. So yeah, often when I'm just sat there at night, these videos don't just throw themselves together. I do have to do a bit of editing and things like that to try and make stuff make sense and, yeah, concise as they can be. So I do appreciate it when they are useful and you let me know. How on earth do you replace the fuel sender on a BAM 225? Okay, we've got a few questions coming through. Right, okay. I was going to stop it, but let's see if we can answer these quickly. Could you come to Beckenham? I don't know where Beckenham is. I can't pull up Google Maps at the minute, but if it's in the UK, then yes. How on earth do you replace the fuel sender on a BAM 225? Yeah, okay, so you've got, take the seats out, 3 screws that hold the plate in, take that out, and then you've got a big ring, so you can either use a rubber mallet and a soft tool or something just to knock that ring round, and then shove your hand inside, you've got to undo a couple of clips, and you can pull the whole unit out in one go. And then if it's the level sender you want to change, you can just unscrew it from the back and switch it over. Front clunk when reversing out of driveway. These are the sort of things that there's lots of things it could be, yeah? So when you're reversing, your top mounts are twisted. So if there's a fault with those, like the bearing, that could clunk. The anti-roll bars are twisted. So if there's a problem with those, they could clunk. Everything's under tension. So you've got under here on the suspension side of things, we'll show you this at least. The only things that can really clunk, look, your track wind, you've got a lower ball joint just here. Where's it? Well, I can't see what I'm doing. Yeah, lower ball joint there that could clunk. You've got both ends of this anti-roll bar drop link that could clunk. You've got the anti-roll bar bush itself that could clunk. I don't know whether you can see that. It's probably a bit dark in there. You've got the top mount itself that can clunk. Other than that, unless the subframe's loose, I suppose the wishbone bushes could clunk a little bit, but not so much in the situation that you've just described. But again, yeah, without getting it up in the air, I couldn't diagnose that for you. I'm not Mystic Meg, unfortunately, but I can give you some ideas. Don't have a TT, but the one turbo. Yeah, we try and share the knowledge. Try to remove the unit, but there are pipes alongside the tank somewhere. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, you've got one crossover pipe from the passenger side, UK, over to the driver's side, which is just like a little push clip. You can get your thumb on that. There's and then there's an electrical connector with that as well. And then there's like a tube with like a hook thing that goes onto it. That's the best way I can describe it. That needs to come off it as well. And then it's a case of once you've got the rubber ring out of the way, you've just got to wiggle really to get it out. But yeah, the pipe that's connected, you just need to, with the sender unit in the tank, get your hand in there and undo that. I will be doing a video on that at some point. It's just something I haven't had to do for anyone for quite a long time. So yeah, next time I do that, I'll try and remember to do it. But it is a tricky one because obviously your hands are covered in fuel and you've got to be using the phone at the same time. It is a bit tricky. Do you recommend Mtep discs? Yeah, they're not bad. They're not bad. Loads of people have used them over the last few years on TTs because, you know, there was discounts on it, and then someone on the forum says, use Mtep, and someone else uses them, Yeah, they're great. They're not bad. Yeah, they're middle of the road. They're going to do the job. I don't know about the carbon content of the metal or anything like that. I can't give you specifics, but they're not bad. Certainly, what I can tell you is that I've used Padgid before that have warped, and I've used Mtep that haven't. So they're all right. Go for it. If you want to use them, not a problem. Do you need to delete the N249 if you install a CAT scan? No, two systems are completely independent of each other, so you don't need to do anything. I want to do another video discussing the merits of deleting or keeping the N249 anyway. So obviously I've done a video on how to delete it, but yeah, I think information needs to be spread about exactly what it does and exactly how it operates. But you can keep the N249, do a CAT scan delete, not a problem at all. What else we got here? After the lockdown, you should hold a TT meetup. Well, so there was one a little while back. If you don't follow them, follow the Pirate Bros. Dom's probably maybe chilling. It's the weekend, isn't it? So yeah, Dom's probably chilling, but he works nights, and I know he's probably going to watch this at some point. So hi Dom, how you doing? Pirate Bros, really useful videos. More on sort of how you can spend money, you know, frivolously on them. You know, the nice shiny bits. Whereas my videos are more about what you have to spend to keep them running. But yeah, so Dom actually set up a breakfast meet a few months ago. I did a video on it, but his video was better, so I didn't even bother uploading mine. Then there was another one planned that got cancelled because of COVID. So yeah, once this is all sorted, there will be meets. That yeah, Dom will organise them through the TT forum community, and then I'll advertise them and let people know. And I'm always happy to answer questions, things like that. It's usually, I find myself, you know, dirty 20 minutes after getting there because people want me to look at stuff. Should I do a Haldex upgrade? Would it benefit any on a 225? Let's talk about Haldex in a second. Small bit of air coming from the exhaust manifold, is that a big problem? If it's coming from the manifold itself, I mean, they do crack, but most likely, have a look at the turbo video that I just did, because the gasket from turbo to manifold is often a very common place for them to go. So that's quite easy to fix. But any leak pre-turbo is going to reduce the efficiency of the turbo. Do you do call-outs? I'm in Stoke-on-Trent. Yeah, that's what I do all the time. I mean, not so much emergency call-outs. I'd have to book you in. But yes, I usually book about 3 weeks in advance, give or take. Haldex, I'm coming back to it, don't worry. Fitting my car with wheel spaces, but the driver's side wheel sticks out more than the passenger. So there's room. Marcos, I'm not even going to try and say your surname because it's just going to insult you. There is room for adjustment on the subframe, but only about that much. I mean, you can see that. Yeah, there's about that much room on the subframe for adjustment. So if you've used the same size spaces both sides and you've not got adjustable top mounts and your wishbones are in the same position to give you the same sort of amount of camber, then you need something looking at if it's noticeably different. Yeah, hopefully it's just a case of alignment, you know, one wishbone, one of the ball joints is sat in a different position to the other one, pushing the whole assembly out slightly. But in which case you need the tracking sorted anyway to get that leveled up. So Haldex upgrade, yes, you've got the blue controller, the orange controller if you can find one. I've never seen one myself. Or you've got the HPA. Changing the Haldex controller transforms the car immensely. It really does change the way that the power is put down, how quick it responds to a no grip situation at the front. So yes, you can do the inserts, and that's just a dumb way of doing things. And when I say dumb, what I mean is you're removing the intelligence of the holodeck system. So you're just all or nothing in it. Whereas the beauty of the holodecks is that it just gives you what you need when you need it. And so if you can tune the way it does that, which is what the Blue controller does, is it kicks in more sooner if it needs to, then that is ultimately the best way of doing things. The HPA touch motion controller is really good. If you can get one of those, they're about 600-700 quid, I think. But they are great. You get a little touch screen and you can change, you know, if you're doing drag runs and you want to be able to have as maximum grip off the line and then reduce your grip as soon as you need to, so that you've just got as much power going through the front wheels and less drag and all that sort of stuff. You can change all those settings. It's great stuff. And you've got, you know, keeping it engaged in the brake and disengaging the braking, all sorts of stuff that you can do with that HPA touch motion controller. So yes, it's worth upgrading. When letting off my clutch in lower gears, especially when cold, TT shakes a bit. Especially when cold is the bit that gets me there. So when you're releasing the clutch, you're changing the load on the engine. And if you've got vacuum leaks and things like that, and the engine is already struggling to stay stabilised, then you putting it under load is just going to exaggerate that. If it's did you say it's a 180 though as well? Yeah. So this could be an interesting one actually. So Rowan, this bit is for you. So on the 180, if it's an ARY, you've got the secondary air intake and you've got variable valve timing. What I've found in the past is that the ECU can be, well, I say the ECU, the car can struggle with having the secondary air intake and the variable valve timing controlling things. And I found that if I just bypass the secondary air intake, just unplug it, that resolves issues. The secondary air intake is obviously only on for the first couple of minutes anyway. So if you can try and pinpoint if it's doing it when the secondary air intake pump is running, then that'll help us diagnose that. And I might be able to just help, like I say, remotely diagnose that for you. But that's where I would certainly start looking. And yeah, I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. But basically, anything that could be causing the engine to not be idling perfectly anyway gets exaggerated in low gears when you're trying to change gear and putting the engine under load. Hope that helps. Does vacuum pump tapping noise? Does vacuum pump tapping nose on a... I'm going to try and work out what I think you mean by that. On the Quattro, if you can hear a tapping noise, there's a carbon canister. And while it's on idle, that does make a bit of a tapping noise. So that is in front of, well, just behind the headlight. So if you can hear it from there, that's normal. Our top mount gaps are usually larger when using cheap coilovers, new bush is used. Regardless of what suspension you're using, the gap is dictated purely by the bush itself. Okay? Doesn't matter whether you're using Stance Plus, whether you're using Joms, whether you're using Bilstein B16, whatever, it doesn't matter. If it's cheap bush, it's cheap bush. So that's what I've been doing today. Changing these. So, these had a bit of a gap. I tell you what, if you all want to hang fire for 2-3 minutes, I'm going to put these wheels back on. I can drop it down and we can have a look at the arch gap. Or I can do get some pictures. Actually, I'm just going to get some pictures. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, because I do want to just get this wrapped up now. But yeah, they're usually just larger when you're using poor quality bushes. But even standard bushes will have a gap of sort of that once they're bedded in. It's normal, it's fine. Difference between APX and a BAM engine wiring harness, okay? Give me a second on that. What's a good fuel pump upgrade? A good fuel pump upgrade is a hard one to answer at the minute because the DW65V was the go-to. More and more failures are coming through on that. So there isn't, other than going for an inline 044 or something like that, no one seems to have a really bulletproof solution for that at the moment. Yeah, okay, if it was in an accident, that would really explain it, Marcus. Just wish the Haldex was affordable. I'm selling a Blue controller if you want for 500 quid. Stock controller, Haldex. I don't know anyone that's destroyed a Haldex from too much power. This. Oh, okay. Sorry, trying to read. So let me go back. I've just missed one. Difference between APX and BAM wiring. So wiring wise, on a BAM, you've got the MAF sensor is different. So there's different wiring there. You've got an EGT sensor, so there's different wiring there. You've got the lambda sensor is different as well. So on an APX, you've just got 4 pin. On a BAM, you've got 5, 6 pin. But so you have to add a couple of pins in. If you're doing like a wideband conversion, if that's what you're getting at, or if you're on about if you can use one loom to the other, they're pretty much basically the same. But yeah, where it comes across the front for the knock sensors and the crank position sensor, that all sits in slightly different positions as well. But interestingly, and this is just me geeking out and being boring, there's a difference between early and late looms, whether they're APX or BAM, makes no difference. So you can have early APX looms and late APX looms, or early BAM looms and late BAM looms, where the air intake temperature sensor, the power steering pressure switch, they use different plugs. So yeah, it's if you've got one and need to use it for the other, it's not that much work to make it work. But yeah, there are just little things that you're just going to need to look for, put them side by side, and hopefully that should answer that. Anyway, so then we had clutch works fine until I really get on it and start downshifting. It'll start slipping, but hardly any smell from the clutch. Is it a bad clutch? Should I go for a stage 1? If you're on a standard turbo, a standard clutch is good for whatever a standard turbo can throw at it. That's, the be on and end all of that. Yes, if you were to put a standard clutch into something that's pushing 300 foot-pound on a KO4 and we're launching it every day, it's going to wear out pretty quickly. But other than that, they're actually pretty well matched. So just get a genuine LUK replacement for that. I can fit it for you if you want. Email me for a quote. Problem with the ABS. Sometimes the pedal shakes and gets hard. What do you think it is? Oh, mate. Daniel Costa. That's a name I recognise. How you doing, Daniel? Get you... Okay, Rich, I'm not getting the man boobs out. It's not happening. I have a problem with the ABS. Yeah, so... It sounds like what's happening is the ABS is triggering when it doesn't need to be. If that's the case, then there's a few things that could cause it. My battery's at 11%. I'm going to have to stop this in a minute because I need to use the sat nav. Yeah, so if it's shaking and getting hard, it could be a few things. So you really need to plug it in with Vadcom and see if any of the sensors, like the yaw sensor or the steering wheel sensor or the ABS sensors, are giving readings when they don't need to be. Cold start and fire sound from the engine. I'm guessing you've got a 180 and it's a secondary air intake. Just a guess. Technical, I want to say, yeah, cool. Thanks, Thomas Connor. Appreciate it. What can I need to get more power in stock stage 1? Stock 225. Close to 300 without having to do any turn work. There's lots you need to do, really. Downpipe, intake, front mount intercooler. Injectors if you want to be knocking on the door of 300, because otherwise you're going to be maxing out sound injectors. Anyway, right, guys, I really have got to stop this now. So thanks for all joining in. Really appreciate it. It makes me feel that it's a useful thing to do. So I will do it more often. Might not be for a few weeks. Realistically, I might wait to do it until I've moved house, which is in the pipeline at the minute. And when I've got decent Wi-Fi, I can have a car on my drive and be talking through stuff with you. But yeah, fire away any more questions that you might want answering, because it might give me ideas for useful videos as well that I can do for you. But yeah, until next time, cheers guys.